what are we going to do with nothing? What are we going to do with this phone? I had excitement when this was announced, extra excitement when we heard they were going to make this Nothing Phone 4A Pro available to the entire US market outside of the beta program, how they did with all their previous phones, right? I was like, oh wow, it's going to be available, unlocked, all carriers, no more. Will it work for this? Will it work for that? It only works half of the time with this carrier, full time for that carrier. It doesn't work for this carrier at all. After doing network testing today, we're sitting in the same exact boat. We have not changed one bit since nothing has come to the US market, beta program or no beta program. I came back to the house very disappointed and almost like, what are we doing? Like, okay, so let me tell you how my day started, right? We'll roll into this. And this is why I wanted to get all those other news topics out of the way first, because I know we're going to spend a lot of time on this. And I want to take you through the day. So I had this grand old plan to make this really good video, network testing, this, that, had really good audio, had a real good setup, and I had this little spot out in the corner of Walgreens, a perfect little spot out in the middle of nowhere where I can really good positioning, where I can get towers, where I've filmed all my previous network testing before. In the day just literally went upside down. My audio was real shitty on the video. It sounded, I don't know what went wrong. It was just one of those days where everything went wrong. So essentially scrapped everything. I did save proof because I know I'm going to get called out by somebody, right? It seems like every time I bring something like this forward, or whatever, I always get called out in the comments from somebody. So I'm like, well, at least I got video of me doing the network testing, but I also have screenshots to prove what works and what doesn't work, and kind of the process that we went through today. So we knew this was out of the beta program. We knew that this is going to be fully unlocked for all US carriers. Boy, was I so happy. And I was not just happy for myself, I was happy for nothing, because I knew many of y'all that do not have T-Mobile were going to be able to use a fantastic device, a fun device to use, and not have any issues with, will it work with this, will it not work with that. I thought those days were long gone, behind us. What do you know? We're still in those network issue days. So today started off, I have my T-Mobile SIM as usual. Don't need to worry about T-Mobile networks because I have a SIM. I was just going to throw it in here and test it, which I did. So now and now for the test today, I needed to get a AT&T SIM and a Verizon SIM. So before I left the house, I was like, let me sign up, get some service, and then I'll go do the network test. So first up, what do I do? AT&T. Go on their website. This year, I'm going to download an eSIM. So when you go buy service of bring your own device, BYOD, it asks you what device you're going to use, what's the IMEI, see if it works, if it's compatible with our network. I was like, okay, well, let's find out if it's compatible, right? What do you know? I put in the IMEI, said, yay, it's compatible. I'm like, yes, finally. So we're on a good track, right? It wouldn't accept it last year. Now it accepts it. So I'm like, cool. So I get a little $20 plan, and I made sure 4G, 5G, and this plan I got has AT&T has a new standalone 5G network similar to what T-Mobile has. The brand new network, fantastic speeds, fantastic signal. I was like, sweet, because somebody asked me, do you get ultra wideband on here? I was like, I don't know. I'm about to find out. So cool. Downloaded the eSIM, paid for it, then downloaded the eSIM. Activated it right as I was sitting here. Sweet, ready to go. eSIM ready. And then and then it's Verizon's turn. Now, you can only have one eSIM and then like one physical SIM or two physical SIMs. So I got one T-Mobile physical SIM I was going to put in here. I have one AT&T eSIM that I activated, download, locked and loaded in here. So that means I can't have two eSIMs. So that means I have to have a Verizon physical SIM because I can take out my T-Mobile SIM, put in my physical Verizon SIM, test that, right? So I was ready. I ordered this last week. Verizon SIM kit. Bring your own phone. So open it up, go through the steps, activate your SIM. Okay, no problem. Pick a plan, activate your SIM. Cool. So I get on Verizon's website to go activate my SIM. Well, I pick a plan out, right? And it's like, okay, cool. 5G, 4G, all good to go. Get to the next step in the process. See if your phone's compatible with our network. See if it's unlocked. Okay, let's go. Copy, paste the IMEI. Boom. I get hit with this. The phone associated with the device ID you entered is not compatible with the Verizon wireless network. Now, I know what you're going to say. Where it says make and model, it says S25. Well, guess what? Nothing. They want you to pick your phone and then put in your IMEI. Well, guess what? There was no option for nothing. It was a select your device. You can't type it in. It was like iPhone, Galaxy, Motorola. They didn't even have OnePlus. Just your basic stuff. iPhone, Samsung, Motorola, and Pixel, and that was it. So I was like, are you serious? And so then I put in my IMEI number from the Nothing Phone 4a Pro. Now I blurred out the last few numbers because I don't want anybody to get any ideas. But entered not compatible. So I'm like, well, maybe it's because I chose S25 and the S25 doesn't match with the IMEI number. So what do? Get on the phone, call Verizon, and I talk to the person. I know I have to get to the next level because the people that just answer the calls, they really don't know what's going on. So I tell them what the deal is, and like, a nothing phone? What's a nothing phone? Oh, Jesus. I've had to explain that nobody knows. They don't know what a nothing phone is. So I'm like, well, can you just pass me on to a tier 2 or tier 1 or tier 2? After a few minutes going back and forth, and look, I'm polite. I'm not rude by any means, but I'm just like, can we please get on with this? And so finally, she passes me on to a tech specialist, tech support, tier 1, tier 2. I explain to them what's going on. What's a nothing phone? Oh, Jesus. I'm like, whatever. Can you just accept? I told him what the deal was. I can't select nothing on your list, but I have the IMEI. I asked him, can you physically and or manually whitelist the IMEI? Meaning, can you manually add it to your approved list of IMEIs that'll work on your network, right? Because the system clearly doesn't want to activate it. Can you activate it for me? Can you tell the system, accept this IMEI? No, you can't do it. I'm like, well, is it even possible? He says, no, it's not up to us. He said, we can't add it. He says that's on the highest, one of the highest levels, meaning we can't manually activate a phone to work on the network. He said that's up to the phone manufacturers. So I'm like, so it's not going to work. Verizon's not going to work. I said it says it's fully unlocked. And he's like, well, if we can't approve it to work on our network, it won't work. Do you have another phone we can? I'm like, no, I don't have another phone. I'm trying to do a YouTube video on this. So anyways, it won't work on Verizon. Sucks. I spent 42 minutes on the phone with this guy trying to figure any which way, any question I could ask that would try to get him to approve this. He can't approve it. It's up to nothing. It's up to the Verizon executives to make it work. It's not up to us, the users and the tech help. So the Nothing Phone 4a Pro will not work on Verizon. But then I thought, well, you know what? What if you had a Verizon physical SIM card that had service that you're already paying on, that you could just take out of your phone, out of your existing phone, and then put it in the Nothing Phone 4a Pro, boom, you're all good, right? And then I remembered AT&T, and I brought this up to him as well. It'll kick you off the network. And I realized when he was explaining it to me how it works, that's what happened with AT&T the previous year on the Nothing Phone 3A. I tricked the system. I had an existing AT&T SIM card with service, with a phone number, with data, an active SIM card that I just kind of snuck in the Nothing Phone 3A and actually did a network test and it worked fine. But after I realized I was using a AT&T SIM on a non-approved IMEI number or non-approved phone, it kicked me off the network. It just stopped working one day. And that's exactly what would happen if you tried to do that with a active Verizon physical SIM. And you can't depend on that. If you want to use this phone with service, the last thing you want to do is be out and about and your service gets dropped and you're screwed. You can't make a phone call, can't get data. Nobody wants that. So Verizon is non-existent on this Nothing Phone 4A Pro. That sucks. So yeah, back to the carrier issues on Nothing phones. Jesus. Verizon doesn't work. So I said, okay, since Verizon doesn't work, let me just go out and check it out. This will also affect Verizon MVNOs, like visible, like Verizon won't work, or any Verizon MVNOs, like visible. I had a list of Verizon. These are carriers that will not work with the Nothing Phone 4A Pro. Ready? Visible will not work. Xfinity Mobile will not work. Verizon prepaid, Verizon postpaid, TracFone will not work. Straight Talk will not work. Net 10, Total Wireless, Spectrum Mobile will not work. Page Plus, Red Pocket, CellTel will not work. Boom Mobile and Credo Mobile, never heard of those, but those will not work. So I left the house, AT&T and T-Mobile, let's go. And then I got another surprise while doing the network test. So let me pull this up. So here's the network test I did. So while I was doing, wait, hold up. Let me show you this, because this is going to be a key factor in what happened today. When I went outside, when I was about to hit record, I noticed I was just getting the 4G logo. And I was like, well, sometimes that happens. Sometimes it'll get stuck on a band, and see, a simple restart will get it back onto 5G. It'll refresh the network. It'll grab the best, strongest signal. And I just thought that was the same situation with this, right? So I restarted it. Boom, back on 4G. What 4G? What the hell? It's like, all right, well, maybe I just need to go into the settings to switch 5G on, right? Well, take a look at this. Yikes, not that. Take a look at this. So this is the network settings in the settings app. 5G standalone is there. I'm like, huh. Now, but look at T-Mobile's. Jesus Christ. Look at T-Mobile's. T-Mobile has a preferred network type right above 5G standalone, kind of in the middle part. Look at that preferred network type where you can select the network you prefer to be on. T-Mobile, you can prefer to be on 3G, 4G, or 5G, right? And it'll stick to that. Well, on AT&T, there is none. I'm like, what the hell is going on? I could not get this phone on 5G. I tried 5G standalone activated, 5G standalone not activated. And I tried it with roaming on. I tried it with roaming off. I tried to switch mobile data on. I tried to switch mobile data off. I restarted the phone. Airplane mode on, airplane mode off, everything. It would not jump on 5G. And I was right next to a tower. So watch this. So here's the network test on AT&T. As you can see, I'm getting a strong signal. but it's only on LTE. I'm on band 5, only on LTE. And I cheated a little bit. You can see the results before. You can see them on the phone. So look at that graphic to the left. It shows you my speed test results on AT&T on 4G LTE. It would not get on it would not get on 5G. And if you wait a second, I'll show you just how close I was to a AT&T tower. It was literally across the street. So, and there was a clear line of sight. There was nothing that was blocking the signal. Look right here. You see where that is? That's an AT&T 5G tower I use all the time. Well, not all the time, but for my network testing, I've gotten 5G on a bunch of other devices. This one, no 5G, just AT&T 4G. And the thing that sucks, they're slowly phasing out 4G. So if you plan on, if you're like, well, I can deal with 4G, right? Saves battery life. Plus, most people on 5G anyways now, you get some decent speeds on 4G, right? Not quite. Look at those speeds. So, pretty embarrassing, honestly. Very embarrassing. Not just for AT&T, but for nothing. Like, what are we doing here? This is, I thought we had moved past this. So that's AT&T for you. 4G only. So that's essentially, now, it's 4G plus. At least you got 4G plus, right? Yeah. So let's move on to T-Mobile. So give this video just a second. See, I had to include this video, some of it. My audio sucks, so that's why there's no audio, but I wanted to give you a visual because I know some people would say I'm lying or say whatever, you didn't do the test or you just came up with that. No. So look at the T-Mobile. See the T-Mobile 5G tower on the other side of the street. Now, we'll cheat a little bit. You can see the network test results that I get, but look, we're on band 41, T-Mobile 5G, very strong signal, -59. That's a really, really strong 5G signal. Now, look at the test results that we got with T-Mobile 5G. Are they the best scores? 158 download, 105 upload speeds. Not the greatest, but it'll do, I guess. Now, I have a network test on my S23 Ultra. I put my SIM card back into my S23 Ultra after this, and I'll show you what the test results are. I'll let this video finish out, but I mean, it's not the greatest, right? So let me show you here. So this is when I got home. That's my Wi-Fi on the Nothing Phone 4a Pro on the left. Pretty good. T-Mobile is in the middle. That's on network, T-Mobile network, 5G in the middle. And then AT&T all the way on the right, 4G LTE plus. Don't forget the plus. Sucks, right?